Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to Natural Glam Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about sport-specific training when it comes down to squats. Because everybody thinks certain things about squatting, and it's not necessarily accurate. The general mythology out there, not necessarily accurate, and I knew this. So I have been vindicated by a study. That's the whole point of this video. I have actually been vindicated by a study. Not that I believe in studies, but I have been vindicated by this one, Mountain. So in a study recently, they compared full squats to 90-degree squats or parallel squats. I can't remember which, so don't correct me on that. And quarter squats. So basically full squat, half squat, and quarter squats, and which one was more applicable to sport-specific performance. Which one increased the sprinting time of the 40-yard dash, and which one increased the vertical jump. And surprise, surprise, the quarter squat was the most effective out of all three squats for improving the 40-yard dash as well as getting more vertical. Now, this should make sense to most of you guys that have logic out there, because if you look at a person that is jumping, say a high jumper, or a person that's a basketball player and they're jumping a slam dunk, they barely ever go below the quarter squat range of motion. They very rarely ever do this. That's where the most efficient torque curve is for you to jump or to get power. This is why basketball players don't full squat before they try to jump to get a slam dunk. I mean, it'd be stupid, right? We all know that that does not feel natural. So it makes sense that a quarter squat would be more natural, or at least a half squat anyway, when it comes down to getting sport-specific performance. So this is why this full squat ass to the grass thing doesn't make sense, unless, of course, your sport specifically demands that range of motion, such as Olympic lifting, which is pretty much the only sport I can think of that would demand a full squat, which means you have to be straight up and down and ass to the grass, you know, just sit that bum right on your ankles. So in my own experience, I talked about this before, I noticed this in hockey. When I was playing hockey in the beginning, I was always doing my 90-degree squats, low bar, and I was fast. I was one of the fastest guys in the ice, which is probably why I injured myself so much, because I was not a great skater, but I was fast. I had a lot of power, right? A lot of power, no coordination in the beginning because I was not a skater. I was just learning. But once I went down to a full squat, I actually started doing full squats, like high bar and going super low. And what started to happen with these ass to the grass squats is that I noticed that my skating speed went down. I started to slow down on the ice. Normally guys that I was beating, I actually was not beating them anymore, because when I was doing that full squat, I was using a different weight and I was overstretching the tendons in my knees, because I wasn't built for a full squat first and foremost. And second of all, it just wasn't an efficient range of motion in order to increase my sports performance. So in hockey, once again, you don't ever bend the knees more than 90 degrees when you're skating. Never. It never happens. So why would you train well beyond that? Now, some people say, oh, you train well beyond that because somehow it makes the joints be safer, somehow it helps the flexibility, all this. If anything, I found it puts more wear and tear on the joints than actually helping protect them. So that's my experience, and I've seen it with many other people. If you're full squatting and it's not the right squat for you, it's the wrong thing. If you're full squatting and it is congruent with your body type, then I would say yes, continue full squatting. So I'm not saying not to, but once again, the full squat is not mandatory in order to get sport-specific performance. If anything, I would recommend something in the middle, something that is more in alignment with your body, but not forcing you to round your lower back or overstretch the tendons at the bottom. Now, you could do light warm-ups like that if you want, just to get a stretch, but then we're talking about yoga bodybuilding. We're not necessarily talking about sport-specific performance bodybuilding or weightlifting. Now, another concern that I've heard from people, and this was a recent comment that was made by a guy, he was just, expressing his concern for partial ranges of motion or different ranges of motion. I hate the word partial, because sometimes what somebody classifies as partial is actually full range for somebody else. So I don't really like using partial. But the bottom line is that this comment was saying that 90-degree squats cause more shearing force on the knee and cause a lot more damage to the knee. And I would say this would be true if. Now, this is the thing. Most people don't think, they don't understand the different variables, but if you're a person that squats and you stay straight up and down when you squat, there's no bend over, you're not basically including the hip, but you're staying more straight up and down, so the knees are coming forward and back. And that's the majority of the motion that's happening, is the knees are bending and they're going forward and back, right? As you stay straight up and down. Then I would say for this type of person, they may have to come down lower and be parallel, to activate that hamstring. But if you're a person like me that has longer femurs in comparison to my shorter lower back, I bend over a lot. So when I bend over a lot when I squat, I'm already activating the hamstrings quite a bit. So doing a 90-degree squat keeps that stress on the hips because I'm bent over, right? But if I was straight up and down and the knees would have to come, see the knees would have to come forward to compensate. As those knees come forward, as I stay straight up and down, now there's gonna be more stress on the knees, and if I stop, it's mostly my knee or my medialis that's taking the stress to stop the momentum. So that's the difference. So again, depending on whether you're a straight up and down squatter or whether you're a person that bends over quite a bit, this will change the rules around squatting and what is causing shearing force on your knees. This is it. If you want to see the study is in the link below. And it's not the only study that I found over the years where different ranges of motion can create different results. But the bottom line is you do not have to squat ass to the grass in order to get sports performance. If anything, it might actually hold you back when it comes down to sprint speeds as well as jumping. So you football players out there or basketball players, people looking to be faster in their sprints, then I would say the quarter squat to a half squat is more where you should be looking at. That's really the range of motion you should be looking at, not the full squat or the butt to the floor squat. And I think if anything, you'll have a longer career because of it, because that has been my experience and that's what's happened with me. And I've been squatting for 30 years. So go figure. Now, on another note, I put up the last video that said, you know, one of the reasons why people get held back in their training is that they're afraid to find their own way. And although that's not the only reason why people are held back in their training, I find it is one of the biggest ones. They do not listen to their body first and foremost. They listen to this dogma, like some of these YouTube channels that are perpetuating. They're saying, oh yeah, do it this way, do it that way, according to science this and science that, that everybody must train this way, everybody must train that way, which is absolute crap. And anybody with real experience in this industry for several decades will tell you otherwise. They will not tell you, oh, you only do it this way, you only squat that way, you only bench this way. It all depends on body type. And I take an immense amount of joy out of people that try to argue with me in the comments, but spout a lot of negativity, and they just call me this and call me that, tell me I'm an idiot, even though I've proven that I know what I'm talking about from my own experience and from actually winning stuff. I take an immense amount of pride in taking their book-long comment that they put in the comments and then just pressing delete. I have the power. Mountain. So yeah, if you're gonna hit me with negativity, you're getting deleted anyway, so don't waste your energy on those long comments, guys. And if you want to hit me with a real discussion of some sort of friendliness where we're interacting kind of as Galantians, then hey, I'm here for you, and I won't erase your comment. I'll just have a discussion with you. I'm open to that. I have no problem with having discussions. So thanks a lot for watching. And if you need to get hold of me, just go to naturallandbodybuilding.com. And thanks a lot to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now.